Russia's war on Ukraine and the worsening disaster after the collapse of that hydro dam near Kherson. These are some of the latest images into us from Kherson, the southern Ukrainian city that's downriver from the dam. Rescuers are using inflatable boats to reach people trapped by the rising water. This is the Ukrainian-controlled side of the Dnipro River. Officials say the evacuations are being called out while Russian forces on the other side shell Kherson. They estimate about 16,000 people are at risk, tens of thousands more on the Russian-controlled side. Now, these are new aerials into us this morning that show the extent of the disaster in Kherson alone. Officials expect the floodwaters could rise another metre there before the water level peaks. Smaller communities upriver are also being flooded, and that's being captured in new satellite images from the region. Take a look at these from Maxar Technologies. There are reports people have been stranded on rooftops. This morning, Ukrainian officials are urging people trapped in their homes to get as high up as possible and wait for help. Let's bring in Rebecca Collard, who's in Berlin, and she has the very latest on all of this. Rebecca, good morning. We know that rescue operations are underway, both on the Ukrainian and Russian sides of the Dnipro River. How is that going? What's the latest?
Well, I think just as you just said, Heather, the fact that we are talking about a rescue operation that's happening on two sides of a river on territory that's controlled by two different military forces just shows you how difficult this operation is going to be. So as you were saying, with these images that we're seeing this morning of people, the Kherson region villages flooded, people in dinghies trying to get out. And, you know, at first, some of these images might look familiar to Canadians, Heather, because, of course, we have floods in Canada. But if you think about the fact that this was almost surely caused by deliberate military action, it just drives home to you how devastating it must be for these people that are trying to flee this area now that is under these two different military controls. So, you know, Ukrainian officials have said that in total they think that 42,000 people may need to be evacuated, 80 villages in total. And that just gives you a picture of how much water is coming out of this dam and is continuing to rise, Heather.
It's been now more than 24 hours since the dam was destroyed, Rebecca. Is there any clearer picture of what happened and which side might have been responsible in this?
So really, since this explosion happened, both the Russian and the Ukrainian side have been blaming each other. President Zelensky issued a statement this morning calling it an act of terrorism by Russia. And yesterday in the UN, Russia's ambassador to the UN blamed Ukraine, saying that it was a deliberate act of sabotage. So still, we really don't know. Now, Western officials have been a little bit cautious as well, though most people are pointing their fingers towards Russia, saying that, you know, that the destruction of this dam will hurt this planned offensive by Ukrainian forces. So, Heather, for months, really, we've been talking about a planned counteroffensive by Ukrainian forces against Russian forces in Ukraine. And in the last few days, we've seen what seems to be the start of that offensive operation. So a lot of people are pointing the finger now at Russia, saying that this was an attempt by Russia to destroy what would have been a crucial route for Ukrainian forces to cross this river area, to cross this body of water. So in the end, we don't know still, Heather, who actually carried out this attack, but both sides are still blaming each other.
Rebecca, thank you very much for the latest. Rebecca Collard there in Berlin.